All right, so there's a couple of theorems in this section. One of them is the corollary to the exterior angle theorem. So if I have an exterior angle, which is angle 1, then measure of angle 1 has to be bigger than measure of angle 2, and then measure of angle 1 also has to be bigger than measure of angle 3. If two sides of a triangle are not congruent, then the larger angle lies opposite the larger side. So here, if xz is greater than xy, then angle y has to be greater than angle z. Okay? And then if two angles of a triangle are not congruent, then the longer side lies a lot up opposite the longer angle. So that if I had angle A, right, is bigger than B, then BC, this side length here, has to be greater than AC, the side length that's opposite the angle we were looking at. The triangle inequality theorem says that if I have sides of a triangle, that xy plus yz has to be bigger than xz, yz plus xz has to be bigger than xy, xz plus xy has to be bigger than yz. Otherwise, there's no triangle that's formed. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of things and a proof. So I am trying to prove that PA is bigger than PT. Okay, so statements, reasons. Okay, so I know that PT is perpendicular to TA, and that is given. So then measure of angle T has to be equal to 90 degrees. Definition of perpendicular. And then 3, measure of angle P plus measure of angle T plus measure of angle A has to equal 180 degrees. And that's a triangle angle sum theorem. And then we know that measure of angle P plus 90 plus measure of angle A has to be equal to 180 degrees, and that is substitution. So then measure of angle P plus measure of angle A has to be equal to 90 degrees. That is by subtraction. So then measure of angle T has to be greater than measure of angle A, and that is comparison property. And then PA is greater than PT. And that is the theorem that has no name, so we have to write it out. Two angles, I could just write it as two angles of a triangle are not congruent, then the longer side is opposite the larger angle. Okay, so let's see. Explain why measure of angle 1 is greater than measure of angle 2. Measure of angle 1 is bigger than measure of angle 3 by the corollary to the triangle exterior angle theorem. Measure of angle 3 is equal to measure of angle 2 by vertical angles. So then measure of angle 1 is bigger than measure of angle 2 by substitution. All right, so can a triangle have side lengths with 2, 3, and 6 inches? Okay, so let's look at this. So 2 plus 3 has to be bigger than 6, and then 3 plus 6 has to be bigger than 2, and then 2 plus 6 has to be bigger than 3. This is not true, so no, because 2 plus 3 is not greater than 6. All right, and that's it for this lesson.